to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And what shall we do with the consent agenda?
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I second that. All in favor? Selectmen's comments and announcements. I didn't prepare my remarks. We probably should say something about you will be on vacation. And you will be on vacation
From Wednesday, May 15th through Wednesday, May 29th.
and that peculiar time was because you had prior arrangements already made before you were our town administrator.
Birthday present.
Hmm?
Birthday present.
Yes, and happy birthday. As is there public comment? Business item number 1, the town meeting warrant recommendations and approval. What is your bill?
Were you able to contact Chief Bean?
I did, and I have not received it. I left a message for him,
Okay.
so I'm waiting for a call back. I'll let you know as soon as he does.
So we would normally go with Chief Bean's recommendation.
Probably. He's.
And that would be for the down payment only.
Right. What article was that?
That is Article 9.
I did leave a message as to why I was calling, so hopefully he will find out, get back to us shortly.
And we wanted to note on Article 12 more clearly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Let's deal with Article 12,
And that's the,
and then we'll go back.
Okay.
the garbage to garden.
Yeah, I can actually reword that article to read, to see if the town will vote to raise or appropriate $1,800 for the garbage to garden composting program, and then for the selectmen's recommendation and the budget committee recommendation, put no appropriation.
Yeah,
That
would
might-
be clearer.
Be clearer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make that change.
Back to Article 9, I guess. Did we ever, or do we have to put a vote out on the floor at town meeting to actually affirm the intent to purchase a fire truck? Because all we've done so far, I think, is just approve down payment for one. I don't know if we ever asked the town if the town wanted to buy one.
We haven't approved the down payment yet either. We approved nothing for the fire truck.
Right, nothing in
Is there a warrant in here
There isn't, but there can be.
to actually purchase a fire
Purchase it.
truck? I think there should be.
We can combine the warrant article to see if the town will vote to allow the selectmen to purchase a fire truck
And provide a
and
down
to
payment.
transfer X amount from unappropriated surplus to apply as down payment,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Would we need to have the authorization in the article to have, to pay the balance from the invested funds?
And do we need to have the total cost of,
We should.
Did he give you the total cost during the budget committee meeting?
His estimate was, based on his talks with E1, was $570,000 to $575,000.
Okay. So it's reasonable to think that the down payment would be
100?
about 100?
I did ask, my message to John today was to find out the down payment really is what's required for down payment. So I hope to hear next day or so, we'll know.
So if we had, up to 575,000 for the total cost, that would likely cover it? And then if it came.
Well,
I don't know if we wanna,
let's do what John says first, and then put in the 575 or 580 or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And if we're putting a down payment, this should solidify the cost, right? Because what
Yes,
technically
it should
ordering.
lock it in. But just keep in mind that it'll take over a year for the truck to get here. And next town meeting, we gotta keep in mind that they'll need some funds to finish outfitting that truck. There's always things that need to be done, new hose, whatever, but it'll need some things.
So we should wait another year for that.
why don't,
Yes,
why don't we,
Okay.
the authorization to purchase a fire truck, why don't we, maybe we could mention that the estimated quote is 570 to 575, to make sure we don't lock ourselves into it.
Right, no, I wouldn't
Because it's, I
recommend
mean,
that.
it's 2 budgets out before everything's said and done.
well, I think if, once you put a down payment down, as Kathy said, that should lock in that price, it should be firm at that point.
We
Yeah.
But
don't
right
want-
now, it's not firm, Peter.
We
It's
don't
not
lock
firm.
in that price because we don't want them to come back at another 100,000, so we really need
Yeah.
to lock it in.
Yeah,
We didn't actually solicit bids yet, is that correct?
He did talk about the companies, but this is the first official quote. This is the truck they're looking
So it's a
for.
quote.
we
And
need
there
to,
was some
we need to talk to him
justification.
and see how he wants to do it and what he foresees is going to happen.
Mhm.
And we can craft
This is the truck
that
that
way,
the committee and the chief had picked out
yeah.
for numerous reasons. Local, better service, a number of reasons.
Mhm.
And this has never been on a town meeting warrant?
No, this is it, the first go around.
Okay.
Right.
It was mentioned last year, just for information only, that it was gonna come up this year.
And I think it's been part of the discussion, the long-term discussion about the potential uses and benefits of having the invested.
Yeah, it won't be any surprise to anybody.
Right.
We've been talking about this for 10 years.
Well, we discussed 5 years ago, we had 5 years left on the truck, so.
Right.
Yeah, I know, it's 5 years down.
Oh.
I thought we still had 5 years.
That's the other 5. Take 5.
Okay, I am going to fashion some kind of reasonable article.
Yeah.
Carly will need it by Friday in order to have it printed in the town report.
Okay.
However, you will still have time if you want to change the wording, if the wording isn't quite right and you want it changed for town meeting, you can do that before you actually sign the warrant that's posted. And we can have the moderator explain the change on the warrant.
Okay.
And,
Okay. But I'll try to nail it as closely as I can.
Okay, that sounds good.
When will you be back?
I'll be back on the 29th, 30th. So that's, when will you have to post the warrant?
Usually it's posted
7
almost 7 days.
days. I think we'll have enough time.
plenty of time.
Just a little bit squeaky, but we'll make it. Are there other things that need to be clarified?
The streetlights and the streetlights on Article 13, did we include perhaps that traffic light?
No, we did not. The state of Maine told us they were LED lights, and we've not had much to the budget.
Okay.
And by this fall, CMP is supposed to change over our streetlights we're paying for 2 LED lights, which will save $220 a year, they estimate.
$120.
Now, it's better than nothing, Peter.
Well, I know.
But they don't do this change over to LED unless the town requests it.
Huh.
So did we request?
I believe Christine is looking into that. I can't request it.
Well, that gives a lot of merit to my position on this whole LED global warming thing, doesn't it? In the, if the EMP won't change it over unless the town requests it, it must be to their advantage to just leave things alone,
Oh, you think?
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprising. What, anything else?
Let's see, you'll note that there's 3 changes to the land use ordinance. 3 proposed amendments, Articles 31, 32, and 33. We split them out just in case one doesn't carry, it doesn't bring the other changes down. The first amendment is just general corrections to the land use ordinance. The second one is to expand the definition of accessory structures in the commercial and water dependent zone. And the third is to expand the commercial zone. So somebody will be at both the informational session and a town meeting to explain those proposed changes. And they're also, I attached them to the end of the warrant so you could see what they were.
What was the second one, 32, what was that one again?
Showing an amendment to the land use ordinance to allow accessory structures for commercial and water dependent uses such as fishing and aquaculture be enacted.
In residential or commercial areas?
It says.
Well,
commercial
waterfront.
and water dependent.
Commercial
Yeah,
and
commercial
waterfront.
and water dependent, so.
Our present ordinance is very strict on within 75 feet of the water, and accessory structures generally are, I don't know if they're allowed in certain situations, but generally they're frowned upon. They prefer you set it back,
What's an accessory structure? I mean, we have outhouse.
like a shed. Like a shed.
It could be a big shaft or something like that.
Or could it be in our,
Could be a 3-car garage too.
and we want to.
Within 75 feet of water.
We want to,
As it is right now, it's very restricted what you can put in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what the planning board is doing is we've had requests for years, that people want on their docks a place to put oars and life jackets and, you know, a little kind of shed.
oh, so like one of those little plastic things,
Yeah.
but that doesn't
An
say
equipment
that.
locker.
It doesn't sound like that.
Enclosed storage units for marine equipment no higher than 3 feet and no greater in volume than 75 cubic feet, allowed within the 75 foot setback.
Oh, thank you, that's,
And it says permissible uses include the storage of boating and fishing gear and fuel storage in containers approved by DOT, so there's not a lot of use.
so it's just a small
Right, it's not the 3
box
foot.
that you would put on your pier, or your marine.
Yeah, it's, so they don't have to
Okay.
call it gas tanks.
So right-
But it's not a bait shack or.
No.
So right now where you see bins of bait just sitting on the lot, they would need to go into a shed.
No,
They would need to.
If you're gonna put a shed in, then it needs to be according to the rule would be provided they're screened from water view by vegetation or other natural means.
Is that a change, Madam Selectman, is that a change, or is that?
I believe it is.
Mm-hmm. That's a proposed change.
What was the size of that again? How large could that be?
No higher than 3 feet, no greater volume than 75 cubic feet.
3 by 50, 3 by, what is that? 3 by 50, I mean, 25, sorry.
Yeah. Well, 4x5 is 20 feet. 20, 40, 60, 3 feet high gets you 60 cubic feet. So it'd be a little bit more than,
4 feet high, maybe.
3 foot by what?
3 feet high is the max, though, right?
Yeah, 3 feet is the max.
4 feet times 5 feet is 20. So if you went 3 feet up, that's 60 cubic feet, and it
Okay.
allows 75 cubic feet.
It's not very big,
No.
It sounds like more like 3x4, 3x5.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Is there also a decision about commercial activity embedded in this thing? Did you say aquaculture or other
No.
commercial?
No,
activity?
it's the zone that it's in.
It's the
It's
zone,
the
it's
zone.
referring to the zone.
Okay, great.
Okay, then the next one, 33, was expand the commercial zone.
Yes.
Now,
To where?
would that be at the expense of what other zoning? Would that be residential shoreland, or would it be commercial zones, or what?
I'd actually hate to speak for the planning board, they're
Yeah.
not present,
Yeah.
I'm
so
not sure,
this is better for the
Well,
informational
are you
meeting.
voting on this tonight then?
No,
no.
Okay.
we're approving this go into the warrant. We're not approving the change.
You're approving it going to town meeting.
We're approving that it be taken to town meeting for the town to vote on.
So you're approving it to go to the town meeting, but you don't know what it means?
Not yet.
Because the planning board has developed this, the planning board will explain it, and we'll vote on it the same as everybody else when the.
Where can we study up on that?
We have copies of this.
Mhm.
I'll email everyone here. And the planning board will be meeting tomorrow night at 6:30 if you have questions.
That's where you
Oh,
can find
wonderful,
out.
right here?
Right in this room.
Oh, I gotta get here. Okay, we'll be here.
You're familiar with this room.
I am.
They'll have maps and explanations, and they'll probably be able to point you to the rock that they plan to have this change go to.
Okay, we're just concerned because some activity may be going on.
Okay,
Rosedale.
but the planning board proposes it to you. You guys say, okay, fine, the proposal looks okay, to submit to the town. So-
Yeah,
Or
the
we
town
can say, no,
decides.
it's no good, we're not gonna submit it.
The
In
board
this
has,
case, we are, even though we haven't seen it yet, it's on the warrant to go to town meeting.
the board has to approve every article to be placed at town meeting.
Yeah.
They have to approve the whole thing, that's it. No one can place an article there unless they approve it.
So
We're learning.
the expansion of the commercial zone, we don't know where this commercial zone expansion is going to end.
There's some language that
Yeah.
Carly will email to you and it explains where it will be.
And I'll attach the current zoning map. So you can.
Yeah, because that'll help,
But
because,
when you look at it and read it, it's one of those things you almost need a lawyer to interpret.
because it refers to the tax map lots and that kind of stuff, so the
Perfect.
maps will be helpful.
Thank you.
It has, it's on the upper end of the river. And,
There's a separate Rosedale Road zoning change that they're also looking at.
Also with these 3 ordinance changes, this is something that happens every year, or usually happens every year. And it's adjustments that the planning board has encountered, that the ordinance doesn't quite fit what the intent was, or the ordinance doesn't do what it was meant to do, and it's they call them tweaks, they're just adjustments, really. They're not writing new ordinance, they're adjusting present ordinance.
And what I see here, we're really talking about three roads, 3 landmarks.
Yeah,
I don't see a whole lot of,
Do you see Rosedale Road?
no,
in
I have
there?
a question about that on
Can you
Rosedale
take that?
Road, because I went to the workshop of the planning board last week, I think it was last week, and there was a discussion there that I'm not quite aware of exactly what it was, but I was under the impression that it was a much bigger structure than a 3 feet high structure that was on the agenda to be changed with the planning board. And it was a proposed application that was in for a structure that was 20 by 16 in size and substantially tall.
Yeah, that wouldn't be
That's
an
not an
accessory structure, that would have had to do with some other,
So that wouldn't even come in under this ordinance
No.
change, this would be
No.
something totally
Right,
different that we.
Under
that was
existing
approved.
ordinance, under the existing ordinance, probably.
On here,
we can go
only
tomorrow
thing
night and find out more.
mentioned is New Meadows Lake, State Road, Foster Point, and Borough.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different,
Well,
No,
we're off all those.
This doesn't,
It doesn't go that
Yeah,
far, it's
it's
very,
all this far down the road.
yeah, very, very,
Okay,
300 feet something, it's very
It's up there.
small, yeah.
okay, thank you.
But again, if you're really interested, I'd go to the planning board meeting, because they know a lot more
Perfect,
than
thank
what
you.
we know at this point.
That's really it. The only unusual articles are garbage to garden, the LED lighting retrofit, and the fire truck. Everything else is the usual suspects.
All right. Shall we approve the warrant? But we should approve the warrant probably with the exception of Article 9. We should probably do a very quick meeting toward the end of the week. Or we could just simply say that we will.
We could approve the warrant with, to be including the proposed amendments.
Approve as amended.
Yeah.
Because Article 12 needs to be changed a little bit too. So we could
Yeah.
go with the-
9 and 12, yeah.
And the amendment we're going to recommend is what the fire chief recommends for the town council. Is that?
I would, yeah.
So, what do we have for a motion?
Nobody's name on that.
If you,
I moved it.
if you, had one party of maybe two articles, one for the approval of the fire truck, and then approval of the down payment, or two-part article,
Yeah, it's gonna be incorporated into one article,
or
yeah.
make it like two parts.
Yeah. I propose that we adopt, the town meeting warrant draft with the amendments as such of Article 9. That, the language be changed to request authorization to purchase the fire truck and, to authorize a down payment, and the numbers, to be published will be provided by the fire chief at a later date. And Article 12, amended to, reflect, that the selectmen and budget committee recommends no appropriation for the garbage to garden composting. However, the amount of funding in question remains at $1,800, which should be included as well.
I will second the motion as Peter has stated.
Let's let Carly get it. You get it?
I got it.
All right. So we are voting,
You're amazing.
we're voting to amend the two articles and to adopt the warrant, the draft of the warrant. Any further discussion? All in favor of adopting this brainchild of a lot of people? We are adopted.
We're going to town meeting.
So on to town meeting, yay!
We've been working on this since July 1st.
it's a long process. Okay, onward and upward, lawn mowing bid packet. You have it in your packets. Looked like it was thorough to me,
Mhm.
and all the cemeteries are listed as being needing care. And we have the maps available, should anybody wish to see where these are.
Yeah.
So, what is your pleasure?
Let's put it out of bid.
I second that.
Yes, sir.
Is this just for routine maintenance, not an expanded tree and brush trimming of the cemeteries?
It says removal of small branches and grass clippings as needed.
But not,
Yeah, mowing, trimming around plants, shrubs, trees, and headstones, removal of small branches and grass clippings as needed.
at some point, the town needs to address some more serious
Right.
trimming back of bushes and trees that is not part of normal.
The cemetery committee had an appropriation for $2,400 for maintenance. That would be beyond this. So we can maybe get started anyway. Yes, at some point I think they wanted to figure out a way to address some of the broken headstones and that kind of stuff.
This is really a lot of cemeteries for a small town.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of work.
People are dying to stay here.
They're all old cemeteries.
That's for David's benefit. It's not too late to sell.
I don't see it, but it's a cemetery.
Well, that probably.
Dead end road.
We live forever, that's the problem. All right, so we have a motion and a second, and so let's put this thing up to bid. All in favor? All right, so then, next on the agenda is that we have the results of the survey of potential work to be done on the town hall to keep us, to put us back into ship shape and to keep us there once we get there.
Would it be possible to jump to me if you need to take formal action?
Gosh, I suppose we could. Do we need to
What
do
a
this
concept.
do we need to do this in an executive session?
You don't have to.
Do you mind if we discuss you in public?
Not at all.
All right then, let's move you up. Would you state your name for the record, sir?
I'm Lee Rainey. I'm your alternate plumbing inspector.
And we're here, Mr. Rainey is here so that we can make a deal with him so that in between our plumbing inspectors and building code enforcement officer, we have somebody to cover the necessary arrangements. So what are the necessary arrangements, I guess?
Well, Lee has offered to continue to cover the plumbing piece.
On an as-needed basis.
Yeah. I think we can just set it
He's a
up.
very busy man, probably can't dive into the building permits, but as long as we have him for plumbing, that's generally the most urgent need,
That's a must-have,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
all the rest is fluff, so to speak.
Well, we've just had a couple of months of fluff. So what, shall we accept his kind offer and carry him as our on-call plumbing
Absolutely,
inspector?
absolutely,
Is that a motion?
Shall we make that a motion?
sure.
Shall we have a second? Shall we say that we are all in favor and thank you? All in favor
And we
and
are,
thank you.
We're all set.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll
Yeah,
return,
thank you very
we'll
much.
return the favor at some point, when we get back from,
I'm kinda paying it back now, so,
okay.
Are you a Westcott resident?
but I've been your alternate for 19 years.
He's Pittsburgh's
So you're a new
code
guy.
enforcement.
I'm a new guy.
Do you have a business card?
No, I don't, not really.
I'll track you down through the town.
Pittsburgh.com, you'll find it.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
Meanwhile, back at maintenance of this building. Were we going to authorize somebody to do, what we need to have done is this trim and the lot taken care of?
Now, while we're talking about this,
Yes.
we already entered into a contract last year for painting and, you know, fixing some of the dings on the outside of the building. Do you want to continue with that, or do you want to pull the plug and rebid it? Because we already have somebody who's willing to take care of the outside.
Have you been in contact with him?
He was actually just in this morning
Oh,
and
he
mentioned
was?
that he's got several trips and some personal issues ahead, so I
Oh.
would personally recommend.
Okay, that's
We
good
should probably
information
put
to
it out
have.
to bid. Yeah, let's see
Okay.
if we can get a bid on it this time.
Okay, yeah, maybe we can be a little bit more clear about what we're looking for too.
And I think that's important, because it was kind of, we weren't sure what we needed.
Right,
So-
now we're clear, we can start making, a plan to carry.
So you put that out for bid? And how do you announce that? How would someone know about that?
How is it usually done, Carly? On the website?
It's on the
and-
website, sometimes we advertise it in the newspaper.
Okay.
I do keep an email list of contractors, so if you know of someone
Oh,
interested,
I
they
know
can get
some.
on. Yeah, I'll put you on there
He's
for now.
very good. I highly recommend him, so.
I don't see, power washing the siding.
And are we gonna be able to financially afford all of this in 1 year, or will this be a 2-year project? I mean, there's a lot on here. That would be, I'm just a little nervous, because financially,
Yeah, if
There's
the
a
lighting
lot on
project carries at town meeting, we will need to deal with the ceiling. I didn't know if you wanted that to be a separate project. That's the only issue that I'm really concerned about at this point.
How much is that gonna cost?
No idea.
To replace the ceiling? Maybe more. Depends on,
I think we really need each section that's lined out here and the cost associated with it, then that way we can choose our priorities. If the, I'm not saying we can do it all to the same contract, I just mean it come down to us setting some priorities for each
Yeah.
year, rather than trying to do it all. There's a lot here.
Yeah, there is quite a bit.
Well, we know that we need to get the paint, the rot taken care of and the paint,
Yeah.
and the paint done, so, let's put that out to bid.
We can put the ceiling out as well.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, you have,
We've got a
it's your
lot here.
prerogative whether or not to award a bid.
There's a lot here, and almost every
Yeah.
section needs patch, replace, or paint.
The inside of the building, other than the ceiling, I would just as soon wait on it. Because we may find over time that we want to handle something a different way, or I don't have enough experience with this building yet to know that, you know, we wanna lock ourselves into a certain
Yeah.
way of dealing with it.
Significant amount of stuff here, what are you gonna find when,
Right.
As far as the painting goes, mainly the inside of the building, is that something we can look to the county?
Yes, they can certainly take care of that. But other than the painting, I'm not ready to rip up any floors or
Right.
do anything like that.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Just as long as we're all aware that we will have to deal with the ceiling.
What is this property map, desk replace property map, mass desk?
Where the map is next to the file room, it was just his recommendation that something be done with it, because it's not,
Yeah, it's a plywood desk and there's like a punch hole in it.
yeah, it's not in great
And
shape.
someone tried to stand on it to get up to the ceiling or something.
It sounds like you wanted a first.
It wasn't me, I didn't do it. It was like that when I was hired.
Somebody,
It was not constructed properly.
Right.
yeah, and he was told to be really detailed,
Okay.
so,
Even the worst case scenario.
yeah.
Standing room only.
And replace light block. What's that?
I'm not sure, actually.
What room is it in? Does it
It's
say?
self-sided building. Replace door trim, replace light block, replace rotten trim on shadow board, paint all wooden.
There's a
Yeah,
block
it's
of wood
right
behind
outside
the
this
light.
door.
It's a block of wood.
Okay,
So that would actually be included in this go-round.
So I guess deciding what you wanna put on, what can be held back this go around.
Well,
I think if we do, well, the meeting room, we're not sure about the ceiling. We need to wait on the light, or can we get an estimate with and without it?
well, it's part of the LED lighting retrofit, so if it passes at town meeting, we're
Right.
gonna have to deal with it.
So what if we need a estimate with it and without it? Should be easy enough for him to give us an estimate, and we pull that out if we need
Right.
to. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, for now, since we're really just catching up to ourselves on something that we had already approved, let's get the painting and the rot taken care of on
So
the
would you
exterior.
eliminate the tree on the bottom for now? 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we wouldn't be dealing with those.
Yeah,
Number 1 on the second page?
Yeah, that would be too bad, but still,
Right.
and then probably this interior stuff.
I would like to not deal with any of the extras until maybe next year.
Yeah,
I wanna put some thought into it.
Yeah, this is a lot more than.
well,
I
let's
thought it
just,
was
let's
gonna be.
concentrate on outside then.
yeah. Yeah,
That's gotta be done, it's gotta be
The
painted,
exterior.
and before it gets painted, all the rot needs to be taken care of.
right.
And we may have to, again, like she said, do the ceiling if it passes.
Right. We can cross that bridge on July 1st.
And once again, the sheriff's department may be able to help with painting outside as well. With their work crews they have.
But the thing we might not be able to get them to do is the rot,
No, they won't,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
so we definitely need,
Will they climb ladders?
I talked to the gentleman in charge a couple months ago, and he suggested we may have to supply a few things for them, but they said they have some things, like fuel ladders and
Yeah,
rollers and all that type of stuff. But
okay.
he was sounding more than willing to try to cooperate and help the town out.
Okay.
this is nice though, this is really thorough,
He did a good job, he
Yeah.
took his time.
absolutely, so somehow we need to reward him with the opportunity to bid, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Can we pay, are we being charged for this? Yeah.
In this week's warrant.
Yeah, he is being rewarded.
So,
so,
bid package for the exterior
Exterior.
repairs.
Okay,
With the ceiling.
and estimates for the ceiling. Both ways.
Thing about the ceiling, we need to have some idea of what we wanna do with it. Like what we wanna put back up there for a ceiling. The cost is
Well, I-
differentially big.
We probably need information about
Yeah.
what.
We can do a suspended
we could-
ceiling again.
We could reference it by replacing this stuff with the same stuff and then adjust it
Yeah.
accordingly.
Well, from
Change
a
it.
conversation I had with somebody, they said that even if we do the suspended ceiling again, it will be better than what we currently have because it's improved. So the way that they hang the ceiling is improved,
Yeah,
so, I imagine that's what we'll end up doing,
that's the easiest way
yeah.
to do it. It really is.
It's always disruptive as well.
And the stuff is all synthetic now, so it doesn't absorb moisture anymore.
So my other concern was replacing the suspended ceiling and possible leak.
Yeah, I think
So
the
we-
leak was fixed. I believe, I don't know if anybody has a memory of the leak being repaired, but we have, since I've been here, it hasn't been an issue.
And we've had some pretty interesting rains.
Oh, we put a new
Yeah.
roof on a while back too.
I think that it's taken care of, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So that's, we're doing a bid for that, did we vote on that? Or
Nope.
should we, probably, we're getting ready to spend money. So, somebody give me a motion.
Well, do we wanna go with the two estimates, one with the ceiling, one without, or we just wanna put everything in one? The ceiling and the outside.
It's all the feeling separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you still wanna ask for two?
Yeah, outside and inside. Inside being the ceiling only.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we put this out to bid with the, outside project and ask for a second bid to include the ceiling in the meeting room.
I second it.
Okay, anything else? Then all in favor of these separate projects? Okay, that's good. And we have the results of the MMA insurance, sand salt shed survey, and there were some recommendations for, safety improvements and corrections. Shall we just authorize Christine to, set those things in motion? They're pretty simple fixes, I think, just,
The only item that I need direction on is the tank, whether or not you want it removed.
I think it
I think
has
we
to
should
be
just remove
removed,
it.
I don't think we can take that liability. It was never approved to be put in there, and it's, could cause the town some serious heartburn.
yeah, it wasn't specified as part of the original equipment and the proper,
Yeah, it should have been designed to
Yeah.
accommodate if we were going to have it.
If,
so it needs to come out.
and if it was,
Okay.
if it was part of, contractor's property to be used, it should have been taken away when the last,
After the
No
last
fault.
storm.
And I think we need to try to narrow it down to who put it in there and let them be responsible for moving it. I don't think we should incur cost associated with
Right.
moving
No.
this.
Right.
Fair enough. And that will take care of the extension cord problem.
Right.
Are you saying that that tank won't be back there again?
That's what
Yes.
we're saying.
Thank you.
belongs in the back of somebody's pickup truck.
Yeah, I mean, they can do that and refuel just as easy, I mean.
It's not part of the contract anyhow.
No.
Right.
And then I think the other thing, doing a new contract with whoever we do it with, is we need to put something about this is pretty, I think they have some responsibility in at least picking up their trash.
Yeah.
And not leaving it there for the town to
Yeah.
control, so.
Right.
In contract, I think they need to keep the area, clean and picked up. It's not done.
There will definitely be an amendment to the contract.
Yes,
Well, I would assume that the present contractor would pick that mess up,
yes.
should pick it up.
I don't think there'll probably be any problem. They probably are not aware of it on the boss level.
That would be my guess.
So, was that Kathleen's motion?
Yes, that was your motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we let Christine deal with the issues in this report.
Second?
Yeah.
All in favor of assigning this job to Christine?
You're welcome.
Birthday present.
As you wish.
Happy birthday. And, we have a representative from the Mid-Coast Economic Development District. Who is here?
Oh, we don't have a representative
We don't?
here. They're asking that somebody be
Oh.
appointed as representative.
Oh, well, then, all right then.
We are a member of the Mid-Coast Economic
And we don't
Development
have-
District,
And we don't have a representative?
we currently do not have a representative.
But it says previous town administrators have been appointed, so I would like to appoint Christine Poland as a representative to the MCED board.
Does Christine Colin want
Yes,
to serve?
absolutely.
Okay.
She's clearly just dying for this.
So, she talks
She's
about.
been waiting for this part of the meeting.
I spent a good deal of time on the Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission, and I missed the planning stuff, so I would be more than pleased.
We can plan on this.
That's exciting. I'm so glad that we have now, we
We
have
haven't
now
voted yet.
a volunteer for correcting our lack of representation on the Mid-Coast Economic Development.
Enthusiastic.
It would be nice if we could develop something economical to bring some income to the community that doesn't involve car repair shops, which I
I
like
said
them, I
that running for
frequent
this
them.
position, and everybody just bring me out of town.
Well, we had-
I use the car repair shops in our community, it's nice, but we'd love to see.
We just got rid of an economic development park.
No.
Oh, that one.
We were able.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
We didn't get rid of it. We allowed
Yeah,
it to
we did.
continue in perpetuity because we no longer own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we no longer have to speak the words Wing Farm, because we no longer have that account.
Looks like there's a couple of economic development parks that are going on their own as well around here.
So are
Well,
we voting on that motion?
that was a motion.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor of appointing Christine?
Thank you for keeping us on track, Carl.
And
Oh,
thank you
thank
for
goodness,
volunteering.
phew. Under other, it has come to my attention that the fourth Monday of May is a holiday.
Yeah, another one.
Yet another one. I don't know what we should do about this, except I am going to be at a concert at the time of the meeting. So I would really, really, really like it if we could meet another day that week.
Could we meet Tuesday, the 28th?
I won't be able to be here.
Oh, you won't?
Your vacation
no.
ends on the 29th.
All
Yes.
right, what day is,
Could you meet the first week of June?
what day is town meeting?
Well,
Town meeting is the 12th, so
Does any time the first week of June work, Carl?
June 4th is our informational session, so you could
Mm.
always hold a meeting directly after, or,
No,
probably the 3rd.
the 3rd, yeah.
and then you'd have a meeting on the 10th.
Yeah, just in case we need to touch base.
Yeah, it's a
town
good,
meeting's coming up.
it's a good
We
idea.
can always cancel.
If we have nothing to discuss,
Is the comp plan on the 3rd or the 10th?
It is on the 3rd.
What time do they meet?
At 5:30.
We can meet upstairs though, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wanna do that?
But don't, we need to be open to the public. Do
Yeah,
want
we
the
can
public
be.
upstairs?
We'll meet in Ron's office, there'll be more room, right?
Yeah, the chances,
We'll make it work.
the
We'll
chances.
invite
Or
the
the
whole
comp
town
plan
if
could
you
be
want.
upstairs too,
Yeah, one or the other.
whoever gets less visitors.
So, we'll meet on the 3rd of June,
Still at 5:30?
5:30, in the assessor's office, more than likely.
The results of the surveys from the Aging in Place Committee are going to be presented on Thursday at library, staff library, if anybody wants to go and hear what those results were.
What time?
6 o'clock. I might not be able to be there, so if somebody could go, it would be fantastic. It'll be interesting, because they ended up getting several completed surveys, and it's all been, put into a computer, the results are all in, so it'd be nice to see if they found that.
That's at the library at 6?
Yep.
Can you put that up on the website, Carol?
Yes.
Thank you.
I have one item.
Yeah.
Are you all aware of the camper trailer that was abandoned at the West Bath Historical Society? Yes, there is a big, ugly, abandoned trailer there with no numbers on it. I contacted the sheriff's department because I wasn't comfortable poking around it myself.
Great.
They went, looked for numbers, as I said, there were no numbers on it. And he went inside and it appears that no one is living in it or using it for any,
Which property is this?
it's the property.
Meeting house,
The meeting
At the
house.
meeting house?
At the meeting house.
been there
It's
for
not
a
at
few
the
weeks.
school?
There's,
No,
No,
It's at the meeting.
at the church, the meeting
The old
house.
church.
So it's been there a couple of weeks. It's a big trailer, so it would take a large truck to actually move it. I was going to ask Steve if he would just move it to over by the sand shed just to get it out of there. We're gonna have to figure out how to dispose of it.
put it up to bid.
I was gonna say that.
I mean, it's,
Well,
it's possible somebody would want it, but it's a real mess. The windows are broken.
some salvage
It's really
company would probably
garbage.
take it.
Yeah, but we need to get it out of there.
Yeah, it needs to.
so it might be worth exploring what a salvage yard would give you for it, rather than hauling it twice.
Yeah, that's what I'm
We
thinking.
don't have
Oh,
time
it
to
takes
deal with
time,
it.
right, it takes time, it's gonna sit for so
Yeah, and
long,
we need to
gotta
get it out
advertise.
of there, it's just, it's not good.
I was in a vehicle that we had just acquired a few minutes before and found out that the vehicle was not gonna be able to be put on the road. We called the Brunswick salvage place right over there and drove it immediately there and walked away $250 for sure.
Yeah,
So you just never know.
right.
Does there have to be some kind of legal process for us to,
Mhm.
Oh, they wanted the
Well, the
title.
sheriff's department said no, just get rid of it, but
Yeah.
I'm a little leery of, just doing that immediately.
Can we
it
check,
should be moved, that's for sure.
check with Sally to see whether or not we can just
Well,
dump it?
you probably should, but as Christine said, it's sitting in that,
Yeah, we need to get it out of
You
there.
don't wanna
Yeah,
get into
if I could
fire.
If
just,
someone misses it, maybe they'll call the office and say, what happened to my
Yeah.
equipment?
We wouldn't want the person,
right. I
it's not
mean,
livable, somebody wouldn't go up to the town shed and
It,
try to
it
live
looked
in it.
like it possibly was lived in because there were lots of sheets and blankets and the windows were covered and blah-de-blah. But I believe at this point it's probably just been abandoned. But just as long as I have permission to just get it out of that property, we can
Yes, please.
put it somewhere else and deal with it when I get back.
Maybe you could ask Steve to store it with the other trash up there where nobody's gonna see it.
Probably that way.
So no one moves into it.
Yeah.
Because you know,
On his property,
Right.
and then
Oh,
people have
someone's
great
going in
access to it.
quickly.
that is like,
Yeah, but nobody will see it, and people won't try to live in it. but it's there if you need to give it back.
Move it to an undisclosed location.
Right.
Yeah,
So maybe having that conversation
Well
with him.
said.
yeah, I'll talk to him in the morning.
He's got lots of way out back
One of those
property.
lots that you're gonna try to sell.
Are you going on vacation, Christine? You could perhaps take.
Yeah, we can take it on the road,
It's one of your benefits of the town.
drive it through Washington DC.
Road trip,
What would really stink if somebody had some keys and it came back and started up or something, you know?
this trailer.
Is it
Yeah,
true?
that's true.
Oh, it's not an RV.
It's pretty big then.
Oh,
It's big.
it's, as long as it's
It's
well.
huge.
Is it a
Wow.
fifth wheel one?
Yeah.
I don't know the
No,
difference,
it's a
but
hitch. It's
Yeah.
a good sized trailer.
Mike, you got a tow package?
Yeah, right.
Oh, my- I got a new truck.
She said enough about it now that I know what my interest level is.
That high, huh?
Because that's the money just to,
yeah,
Leave it
who
there.
knows? Who can figure it
It's
out?
Sorry.
You think they dump it someplace?
Well, it was funny because some people said, well, I think it arrived Thursday, and other people said, well, I think it arrived Friday, which tells me it was the middle of the night deal.
No, it was the day before that.
Well, I mean, the
And you didn't
previous
say anything?
week.
I saw it there a week ago.
And you didn't
Yeah.
bring it to anybody's attention, sir?
No, we did not.
he's the only one who saw it, we know who put that.
Not the first time.
No, was the word.
Do we have any others?
No, just a need for a short executive session.
Okey-dokey.
Request to enter into executive session pursuant to Title I, Maine Revised Statute annotated section 405-6A for the purpose of discussing personnel issues.
I second that.
All in favor?
Can you quote you on that, Peter?
Yep, you can.
It's in the record.
If you need it, you have a copy.